Welcome to Running for Real, a global community with a shared love and curiosity for running. Together we reconnect with the reasons why we love to run and discover ways it helps us become better people. Whether it's the quiet moments of a morning run while the rest of the world still sleeps, or befriending the strangers next to you at the start line of a race, we are here to connect with others who see running as the common thread that weaves our lives together. Come join me, Tina Muir, as I talk with people from all walks of life, united by a love of running. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 438 of the Running for Real podcast. And before we get into today, I have some news. No, I'm not pregnant. I feel like that's always where people want to go when I say I have some news. I am repeating. I am not pregnant. What I am going to say, though, is when I went into this episode today, I intended this to be the final episode of Running for Real, or at least final for a while. You'll hear pretty soon into the interview, I kind of abandoned that and decided that I just wanted to have this conversation with this friend of mine. I love her honesty, her authenticity. It's going to give you so much to think about that you've maybe never heard someone or two people having a conversation like this. And so I wanted to leave it as it is. So my friend Kelly Roberts is back on the show. She was one of the early guests that I had. You've probably seen her work through her Sports Bra Squad, Badass Lady Gang. She has done so much for the space in terms of acceptance of who you are, of trusting yourself, of loving your body no matter what. And she's just been one of the consistent rocks in the running space. And I've really loved watching her grow over the last decade. We've been friends well over 10 years now at this point. And so I was excited to have Kelly on. I originally intended to have her interview me, but we decided to go against that. So next week will be the last Running for Real podcast, at least for a while. But this is going to be the final interview for a while, potentially. So I want you to enjoy this episode with Kelly. I encourage you to subscribe to the podcast so that if it does come back, if I do start doing together runs, you see them coming back up. And then also, so then you get next week's episode ready to listen to. It is very raw and vulnerable. I already recorded it and I want to share it with you. Sharing about the journey, some of my favorite episodes, some ones to check out, some things that have happened because of it. I really enjoyed recording it. And I really enjoyed this episode too. So let's let these final two, for now, be going out on a high. I do want to warn you, this episode, there's a lot of swearing. The E is there for a reason. As I said, I love my friend, so authentic. So let's get to this episode with Kelly Roberts. I can't even say it straight. Kelly Roberts, it has been since November 3rd, 2017, since she last came to the podcast. I don't know, in this instance, do we say welcome back, or is it essentially something completely new and we say welcome to the Running for Real podcast?
I know. I mean, what would we even have talked about in 2017? I mean, obviously, I know what we talked about. We could talk about anything. We know each other for a long time at that point, but I'm curious what era I was in 2017. Like what was my mission at that point? You know, like we always have a shtick that we're deeply passionate about, of course. But I mean, we've been at it a long time.
Yes.
And I just I can't remember 2017, what was going on with me. I guess it was my second BQ attempt. Maybe that was what we talked about. When was it? April?
No, November.
Had
you run
so I was injured.
You were injured.
No, I was injured.
You remember that much?
Trauma, baby. Trauma sticks right here.
Okay.
Mainly because I was like, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed myself? Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has been a long time. We just discussed before we started recording this. We're both around the same era when we started. It was originally blogging.
Back in my
2012,
day.
2013, 2014. We were in that period. And that was truly a back in my day. And we're still both here, still in this space of running. we are going to talk a little bit about both of us, what that is like to be in that space for that long. And then we're going to get into something pretty big for this episode for me this week, this period. So yeah, for being in it that long, what are some first thoughts when you think about that? You came into the space in 2014, you told me. It's now 2025.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't it weird? Isn't it so weird, Tina? I like literally just went on a walk with someone this morning, a family friend, and we were like discussing, because I was kind of her assistant at the company I worked at when I moved here. I was a receptionist, but I also like supported her.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just chit chatting, and she was laughing. I mean, she gives me a lot of business advice, and so we were just laughing at that whole, just how everything happened and how much has come in the last 11 years. And we were like, it feels like overnight, but at the same time, for me at least, it feels like 100 lifetimes. This has been the most mentally exhausting, stressful, exhilarating, chaotic, weird, exhilarating. Like there's just so many words to describe what we're doing. I mean, I can't speak for you because you came from the elite side of it, but I know you understand the grind of constantly having to kind of reinvent and redefine and rebirth with every new platform that emerges, and you never know which one's going to take. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't even know how many times I've tried to like grab my handles on emerging platforms. It's just exhausting.
The amount of dead apps on my phone that I downloaded, signed up, and then never even opened again.
Like I think I mean, I know a lot of people understand this because we all lived the same life. Like, you are not like unique lived experiences, but when we got started, it wasn't a video medium. It was very difficult to make running content on YouTube. I know because I tried to watch Beekeeper Bust, my first vlog series, which I did in 2016 with GoPros. And it was like watching the Blair Witch Project. The audio was horrible. They were in waterproof cases. Like it was so hard to do, but it was just so hard. There was like only a couple people doing video for running. And I would say I was not doing it well. There was a couple who were doing it really well. And I would say they came at it more from the cinematic point of view. And like, I always admired their cinematography because it was so beautiful and everything looked so gorgeous and their storytelling was so strong. And like 2020 flipped everything on its head when our iPhones now had the ability to stabilize action shots.
Yeah.
And as iPhones got better and better and better, it's just been so wild to watch how it has changed running and how it has changed our industry and how it has given so many more people voices, which is good. I'm grateful for it, but it's just been hard to stay alive.
Yeah,
I can't believe we are still. I've been canceled like 3 times.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I wanted this to be this way with you, because you and I are one of the. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I've had many moments where there's been so much nastiness that's been directed my way, and I know you're the same. And we have stayed here, but also you are one person of a few that I can think of who not only has been here from the start, but has not allowed the way things have evolved and changed to change them. Like you and I sit here very much as ourselves, not kind of there's very few of us who don't give kind of a filtered version of reality. And I don't say that like, be authentic is kind of a word that's thrown around a lot now, but like even what is considered authentic, like you're still chasing things. And you're someone who comes to mind for me as like an ally in like the kind of that holding out of that little flame that you don't have to put this kind of edited version of yourself online and you can still kind of be appreciated. You're one of few that I see that can do that. And I I'm so glad I have people like you in there, because it makes me feel like, okay, I can stay here, even if I don't follow the trends, and even if I'm not doing things quote unquote right to grow massively quickly. I'd rather keep my integrity. So how does that sit with you?
Sometimes I wish I wasn't like this, because I wouldn't be as poor as I am, and I wouldn't be struggling the way I am. Mm-hmm. I'm not kidding. I wish I could be more like other people who make a lot of money doing what we do in a lot of different mediums. And for better or for worse, I can't, and I know you can't either, but it's hard. I think a piece of it's age, because I vividly remember like a moment that changed me, I think for the better. I don't know if anyone for anyone who doesn't know me, I got my start by taking selfies with quote unquote hot guys behind me while I ran a half marathon. I went viral, was encouraged to start a blog, immediately started a blog, found a following, slowly built that into a women's running community. And now we've got like training platforms and all sorts of stuff and group runs. And really like, it was an overnight 10-year slow burn, you know,
as it tends to be.
But I remember in oh my God, what year? 15, maybe 2015, I was running. I was a very different person back then. I was very insecure. I'm not as insecure, lots of therapy, but you know, I'm human. And one of my biggest things that I was most insecure about was my acne. I have polycystic ovary syndrome. So I've had acne my entire life, like cystic, big acne scars, the thing. I've been on Accutane, all the whole thing as an adult. And when I went viral and kind of started having this following, it was really like, it was hard for me to see myself on camera because I always had such bad acne. And so I would run in makeup, and I hated running in makeup. I hated feeling as insecure as I did. And I would auto-tune my face mid-race while I ran a marathon before I put images up. Like I would be on my phone editing as I ran a marathon. And I remember during the Berlin Marathon being like, this can't be my life. Mm-hmm. I have to get over this. I can't do this anymore. One, because this is wildly impressive that I'm running 9-minute miles and not fucking photoshopping my face to the degree that I am. This is wild. But also, you don't need to be doing this, Kelly. Like, there's a better way. You don't need to have this much like brain space being taken up. And I wish I could say like, you know, that realization fixed me. But that did lead me back into therapy to start working on that specific thing. And like the first thing that we decided on was like, we're going to delete the AutoTune app or Facetune app. That's the first thing we're doing.
What is that? A filter app?
It was like Photoshop, where you could just like airbrush your face and like smooth everything out and export the JPEG or PNG file. So that's where it started. And then it was like, great. Now maybe we're going to switch from a tinted SPF to a see-through SPF, you know, and we're just going to like let it be that you have acne, and we're just going to let like, and when you have those feelings, we're going to journal and we're going to talk about them in therapy. And like, that was super helpful. I like really was able to like get to a place where I didn't care anymore. And then I did Accutane at that moment, and my acne went away as I did that work. So like, if you even go back and look at like old school vlogs, like my hair is did, like I look like a little fashionista. And now you'll never, if you see me with a bra on, it's you know, wow, look at you trying.
I feel that. The comfort I have now got with walking around, especially like at home in my neighborhood without a bra on, is a place I never thought I would get to.
I don't care anymore. It's like how I feel like all of high school and college, I was so embarrassed to buy tampons. I like don't know what it was. It was like, oh no, they're going to know I'm going to buy this thing that I'm going to shove inside of me for my period. People will judge me for my period. Mm-hmm. And it was like, what is that? Like, why am I constantly thinking about the men and how they'll feel about the choices I make over the years? And like, it was like one of the first like true female rage moments, besides needing to buy those products, first of all. But then it was like the amount of time I spent, I don't do it anymore. We are so far past that, but like high heels, which if you wear high heels, I don't care. Like, go girl, you wear whatever the fuck makes you feel like a fucking 10. Whatever makes you feel strong, confident, hot, sexy, beautiful for you, do it. I'm not wearing heels anymore. I don't do it. I won't do it. I'll wear platforms and I'll wear comfortable shoes, but like there's so much that I will not do anymore. And I think Badass Lady Gang, my community, changed it. I really underestimated what being only around women would be like. And when you take out the male gaze, and granted, I'm coming from a very cis point of view, you know, like I am a straight woman, you know, who, you know, that does affect me.
Yeah.
In that sense. So granted, this is coming from that lens, but like when that went away and I was just around women, I was like, holy moly, it is so easy to be myself.
Yeah.
This is weird. I underestimated this.
Okay. With that, when you're only around women, you feel that with all women? You can,
yeah.
Because I feel I don't so much feel it anymore because who I've chosen to surround myself with, but sometimes I would feel it the most from other women.
What?
Like, as in
judged?
Well, not more like wanting to kind of dress to blend in with what the rest of them were wearing and doing.
Oh, really? No, I don't feel that. I think because the people I hang out with all wear very different things. Like if we go out on a Friday, which we don't, which by the way, you'll never see. But even thinking like yesterday, we went to one of our friends' baby showers here in Brooklyn. She's a Badass Lady Gang, and we all went to her baby shower. Some people were in athleisure. I was kind of like in an elevated casual of myself with jeans and a sweater, and I did my hair and like had tinted SPF on. Other people were in dresses, like the gamut of outfits. And like you could tell everyone was comfortable because it was at a brewery in Brooklyn. And it's kind of like you're used to being around people wearing everything. And I don't know if that's just because I live where I live, but like I know that there are certainly places in Manhattan that if I were to roll up in athleisure, I would feel out of place.
Yeah.
But I don't tend to go to find those spaces anymore. And I also do feel like 2020 did change things. Like I can go to the theater in athleisure. I do still like, I was a theater major. Like I have it drained into me a little bit that you always kind of like look business casual at the theater. Yeah. It's like a respect. It's like church for me. Yeah. So I would be fine going to church in athleisure, but like I do tend to make an effort. If there's snow on the ground, I'll wear athleisure, but like otherwise your girl's going to try a little bit to respect the venue. But otherwise, like, you won't find me at a really expensive dinner often. Like, it's just not my thing unless someone else is paying. And then your girl's going to fucking dress up.
I feel that. When I pick up my kids from school, there's a part of me that really enjoys going as like a scruffy, hair in a bun person. There's a part of me that kind of enjoys being a bit of a rebel and being like, I see you all dressed up all cute. I'm not doing it though. Like,
I love that you think that's rebel, but like, this is your job and this is your uniform is like, you get to be comfortable.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I just see so much effort going in even to, and granted, a lot of parents are probably like dropping their kids off and going into work. But yes, there is definitely a vast difference between the way that I show up to pick up and the way that everyone else does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
That.
I guess it's just such a to each their own thing. And I dress up so infrequently that it is fun when I choose to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have beautiful clothes that I never wear. And when I get to whip it out, it's fun for me. Like I had to go on a cruise for work and like I had to look presentable most of the time. And like, it was a theater thing. And like, every single thing I went to, it was the sort of thing where everyone went, whoa! And I was like, that I don't love because I'm like, I know, but like a part of me is like, I know you're saying that to make me feel good, but it also kind of makes me feel bad because it's like you're saying you look like a fucking clown, which they never say. But again, that's my shit. That's just me internalizing what they're saying. And at the end of the day, do I care? No.
I have had the same thing where I've stepped out into my street to go out for like lunch or something and I'm wearing a dress and people are like, well, where are you going? And I'm like, do I not normally dress like this? Thank you for like
making... Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So I feel I definitely get that piece. Okay. Getting back on track. What we were talking about a minute ago, the exhaustion of kind of being in this space. You and I have been in it a long time. You did say, and that's very true, of of people coming into it, COVID very much changing it, making it creator space. And I love the creativity that's there. I love some of the fun ways that people have brought in just different versions of running, and also kind of finding ways to make running fun and running quote unquote cool. But there is also that piece of having to evolve and listen and learn, and as you said, try and prove your like relevance or worthiness to even stay in the space. Talk about that piece for you.
It's awful. It's horrible. I mean, the amount of times I wanted to throw my phone against a wall when I see someone say, no one talks about blankety blankety blank. And I want to be like, actually, I have probably 40 videos and maybe 34 blog posts that I could easily point you in the direction of. If you actually Google it, I'm number 3. So like, it's right there if you want it. But like, that's not the point. I know what you're getting at. And it's how all of us made a name for ourselves. So you go off, queen. But I always want to be like, ah! Or like when you see your ideas get used and it's like, ah! Because like a long time ago, it was unique and different and like yours. And now it's like, you know, like the amount of meme accounts that like used to take my content way back in the day when this, like, there were no rules for memes yet. And it felt like you were stealing my IP and regurgitating it. Like having to go through that in real time and learn that in real time as the internet was growing and evolving was hard, and having to like learn how to do brand partnerships when there was no influencer economy was really hard. And on top of that, you're in your 20s and like dumb and like egomaniac. And then also no one's looking out for you. So like part of you is like, don't take it personally, it's business. But the other part of you is like, but they're fucking you hard. Like, and you don't have a boss to turn to, or you don't have a manager to turn to and say like, what do I do? Or like, I did something wrong. How do I learn and grow? Like it truly is. For a long time, it felt like we were in a pool and there was like 5 of us in the pool and we were like, I'm getting cold. Do I get out of the pool? No, other people will get in the pool. Other people will get in the pool. It's fine. It's fine. It was just hard. Like all of it was hard, you know, like the things that people glamorize. Some of it's glamorous, but most of it's actually just not cool, you know? Like everyone's like, oh my God, you get so much free clothing and free this and that. And you're like, well, most of it doesn't fit. And most of it like isn't stuff you'd pick out for yourself and would never wear. And great. And they don't want to pay you. So you're like, I can't pay my health insurance, which by the way is normally like $750 to $1,000 a month, which I pay, you know, like with fucking shoes that don't fit. Like I can't be like, hey, you want these sweet ultras? And they're like, no, I want cash. You know, like it's just hard. The whole thing has been, I've wanted to quit a billion times like you have. Like there's been many times that I've been like, this is it. I can't do it. I can't take one more fucking anonymous person on the internet saying that I'm a, you know, like opportunist, fat loser. I can't do it. You know, it's just.
So what's kept you in there then? For you,
what else would I do?
Does that feel scary to say that?
Oh my God, no.
Well, I mean more in the sense of like
yes.
that is the reason keeping it. And I'm very much the same way. Like when I have, same as you, reached many moments where I've been like, that's it. I'm gonna go work in a coffee shop. I will. Yes, I'm not
where
gonna.
My next paycheck's coming.
Yeah, but then. The idea of taking the leap and actually doing it, that's what I mean. Is that scary? That seems like, ugh, but working for someone else and then I'd have to like, it seems suffocating to me to think about doing something else where I can't, you know, like before we started talking, I went and sat outside in my backyard and just sat and ate my lunch by myself, quietly reading. Like I couldn't necessarily do that or take off, you know, go to like, we're about to record this, go to Boston Marathon weekend and hang out with my friends and say it's work. Same with us hanging out in Boston a few months ago. Like that was technically work, us going out to dinner, but it was just us hanging out and catching up. So yeah.
It's one of those things that when I'm in it and when it's really hard, which it is, and every job is hard. Every job comes with its set of these things. Like the grass is always greener. I would run into this exact thing with a different hat anywhere I go. But I find when I'm feeling stuck, that tends to be when I'm most vulnerable to like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not growing. It's not fun anymore. And it's like, it never really was fun. It's just a job. Like jobs don't need to be fun. They just need to pay the bills. And so I think a big change for me, like one, I stopped relying fully on influencing in 2019. I like made the biggest change to everything I did because I was like broke as fuck and like broke because no one pays on time. And so a job that should have pulled you up, they don't pay for 6 months. And so then that credit card interest like accrues and then you're like back in the hole when you get paid and you're like, I can't get ahead. I can't get out of the rat race. And so I was like, great. So I just can't rely on this anymore. I need to have a sustainable thing. And so like I just redid everything and then 2020 happened and it was kind of timing. And we were set up to do what happened during COVID. We just happened to set up for that before it happened because that's what we were going to do anyway. And so things changed. And I like said, I never influence. You'll never, ever, ever see me doing many posts. Like I'm very picky and choosy about who I work with. It needs to, we need to meet each other. I will only talk about companies and brands that like I don't hate. Yes. I got fucked so hard. And I can't even talk about it because part of the settlement was like signing something allegedly. So like, I just was like, that was a big, I'm going to quit moment. Then it was like, no, I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to do this very differently. So now it's less of like, what would I do? And now I have my hands in a bunch of different pots, Badass Lady Gang is my bread and butter and we're always growing and evolving. And then I still influence here and there. Like I also have clients who I do production. I produce for them. I produce social stuff. I produce shows. I produce other things. So like I have a bunch of gigs going now and I just like keep it that way. And that makes me feel like I can push myself in a direction if running's really like pissing me off and bugging me or I'm feeling really self-conscious about stuff or nervous. I can focus on these things, but like these things are still going. So like I've just gotten a lot better. I think it's just aging. You just get better at like following the light that's brightest, but keeping everything else burning and not making snap decisions, which I used to do. I used to make a lot of snap decisions. I used to feel so scorned when something would happen to me instead of saying it is what it is, onward.
For me, I also find a piece of that is yes to everything you said. And for me also a piece of that is trusting myself and that if I continue to show up in the way that feels like it aligns with who I want to be, who I am, the values that are most important to me, then things seem to find a way of working themselves out so that even when one of those things blows up or goes wrong or something happens, something kind of comes in its place because I have not again, back to that original point we made of or I was saying about you, like I've stuck with who I am. And not caved in and been like, okay, well, if the hot thing to do is this, then I'm going to do this, and like following the laser around like a little cat, by not doing that and trusting in myself that, okay, things, maybe didn't work out how you wanted them to, but something else will come along if you trust in yourself. I do feel for me that's part of my longevity is that trust and not kind of jumping.
But also, I think I am as well. We're very purpose-oriented people. And I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with what you've been doing and what this next chapter for you looks like. And I mean, I know because we've talked about it. One of the things we were giggling about when we did get to see each other for the run show in Boston was like when everybody gets together, like we do just like rail and like talk smack and like not in a bad way. It's not in a mean girl way. You're not talking smack about people. You're talking smack about industry and like all the choices you've made or been through. It's like the only times you can be in a room with people who are in this very isolating and odd environment and get it. And like, it's fun. I love getting together with you because you get it on a sense that a lot of people don't. Like, to reinvent ourselves as many times as we have, which we haven't really like reinvented ourselves, but been trusting enough to step into the next thing when what you have is working is a very hard, it's just like a big trust fall.
Yeah.
That's a scary, hard thing to do. So to like be with people who get it and you do it together. I mean, I know I've turned to you for a lot of advice over the years, and like there's just very few people who get it. And like truly for a long time, and this was part of the problem, like there weren't many of us. It was like 10 or 12 of us in the running space. And that was a big problem, you know? Like I don't know why that was. I don't know why we didn't grow faster. It took TikTok to kind of like go from 12 to 1,000
and then 100,000 within a few years.
You know, like I don't know anyone anymore. I like roll up and I feel like I mean, I don't know, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but like I will most of the time when running content comes up in my algorithm, I will say not interested, mainly because it does make me insecure. I'm always like, why isn't anyone working with me? Why is everybody getting deals? And I do also feel like sometimes I'm not as creative. I'm not able to trust my voice as much when I'm watching what everyone else is doing.
Feel that.
It's like half protecting myself, but also half like I just kind of spin when I'm watching it. So like there's some things that break through. Like I will never not watch someone's first 5K recap, or like those kinds of videos like always like touch me in a place that just like hits my heel, like it heals me. And like, I'm like, oh, I just love it. I just like, I wish I could fucking watch people talk about their, like, I can't believe I did it race like a million times. That stuff gasses me up harder than anything else. But the other stuff I find it's my shit. It is on me. And it's just like a boundary I have to have for myself, that if I'm going to live in this space, I can't consume it. I have to kind of like just keep doing my stuff and like trust my voice. And that's weird and hard.
I have some huge news to share with you all. AG1 just launched their next generation, the same single scoop once a day, but with more vitamins, minerals, and upgraded probiotics. And it's clinically backed by 4 human clinical trials. They have seriously gone the distance to raise the standard in supplement testing. AG1's next gen is now one of the most clinically backed greens powders. They went above and beyond the industry standard in testing and have made a great product even better. It is optimized for absorption and impact with added vitamins and minerals, and the new formula is more comprehensive than ever, helping to support immune health, gut health, energy, and more. I've been using AG1 since 2019, and I love the new variation. The new generation is just adding those extra bits that I didn't even know I needed. But I love that they have really gone far beyond what they needed to with those 4 human clinical trials. Now it's clinically backed with this advanced formula. This is the perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't already. I've been drinking AG1 for 5 years, maybe coming up 6 actually, and I'm so happy to be partnering with them. So subscribe today and try the next generation of AG1. If you use my link, you'll also get a free bottle of AG D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Tina to get started with AG1's next gen. Notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Tina. There's also research behind that about,
is there?
Particularly with with the consumption piece, that it just doesn't put, if you're in a mindset, I guess, of absorbing or consuming, your creative juices are not going to flow because your brain is like hopping. You think about like social media, particularly Instagram and TikTok, your brain is like hopping from concept to concept to concept. So it can never like finish a thought. I find for me that the ideas for content tend to come on in the middle of a long run. Because it's
running
like,
for sure.
You don't have any of that. You're not consuming anything. You're like, your brain is processed through all the like comparison and the stuff that whatever you're working through. And then it can get to a place where the ideas can come through. So yeah, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. And actually, one thing I love is that when you have other sources, like when I say other sources, I mean, I don't know what the rest of your algorithm does. I have a lot of, let me think. Mine currently is filled with White Lotus stuff.
Still.
A lot of like queer comedians. And what else do I have? Oh, like gardening,
Gardening,
vegetable
wow.
gardening stuff. So like, but there is so much, there's something too, like you can learn something and glean something and get ideas from everything. I remember watching an episode of Gossip Girls once and an idea coming to me and being like, I would never think watching Gossip Girls would give me an idea, but it really did. And so I think that's actually healthy for you. And I need to be better at that too, of not consuming this content. And because, yeah, it does put you in that mindset of like, oh, that's so much better than what I could do. Or I love that idea. I wish I'd come up with that. And okay, so then I want to ask you about this then. You are, again, a woman who I think of in the space who loves to lift other women up, who love, as you just said about the 5K thing, you love to celebrate other people's successes. How do you wrestle with that yourself, with wanting to celebrate other people, but then there's still, like you mentioned with those social media moments, you said you've set a boundary there. That's one example. There's still so many moments where that little thought can come through of like jealousy or envy or kind of comparison.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, all the time. I live in a jealous space 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I think it's just one of those things that like it used to be like, you shouldn't be feeling this. You shouldn't be feeling this. You shouldn't be feeling this. There's space for everyone. There's space for everyone. And I'm like, girl, both can be true. You can sit here and say, I don't understand why people aren't working with you and Badass Lady Gang the way that you think they should. Like, I don't get Sports Bra Squad is such like this like gnarly movement. And like, why doesn't that have brand support? Why don't you have, is that something you did? And it's like, maybe it is. What are you going to do about it? You're going to go out and be like, hey, beep, 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 beep. Did I say something? Like you can if you want, but also just keep doing what you're doing. You don't need the brand support the way that you think you do. It would be nice. I want money. I would love, like everyone just lost a bunch of money in the stock market. And I'm like, oh, can't be sad about what you don't have, I guess. I mean, I did lose $50, Tina, in case you're curious.
Okay, thanks for telling me.
But I don't have a retirement. Like your favorite influencers aren't making a lot of doll hairs. You know, like I have a very successful business. We make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money. You know, I have to pay a lot of people. Lawyers are very expensive. Insurance is very, like not just health insurance, but like business insurance is very expensive. Yep. All the platforms I use are very expensive. Trying to create your own platform is very expensive. Contractors are expensive. Like businesses are expensive. And I also live in a dumb, expensive place but also I can't live anywhere else. I would not be happy. Mm-hmm. So when I'm in that jealous space, I just remind myself, you're good. You get to be jealous. Be jealous. Because guess what? I'm also happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for me. Like, what would I do differently? Okay, great. Go do that. Once I came to a place where it's not my, this isn't going to, I'm not going to fold if I don't get the thing I'm jealous about. It became a lot less. Like I was able to move out of flight or fright. Because that was a space that like I would like just kind of like shake, which is like another reason I'm excited like to do this brand new BQ or Bust journey to try to qualify for the Boston Marathon one more time. Is like, I don't need it. I don't need this to pay my bills, which before I did, it was a mechanism to pay my bills. And like a part of me wanted it, but mostly it was my job. And it was the only thing that brands would pay for me is to like watch me run a marathon. And now I don't need that. And it's like, it feels so much more mine and like more, I get to do it my way. I get to do it for me. I feel confident. I'm a running coach. I know what I'm doing. Like it, whenever I just get jealous, I just remind myself like, you just want more and you're a driven person and that's okay.
Okay, so why Boston, BQ or bust? I get it, like you said in the past, if that was where the brands were. Why now Boston?
It's not Boston. Like I feel very complicated about Boston. I don't think it should be a world major, which I know is a shitty thing to say, and I probably shouldn't because hello, Brandales. You just hear him going down the toilet? I do. There you go. That's the sort of shit you shouldn't say out loud. But I do one, I really respect Boston. I really respect trying to go for something that like the standard. I really respect the work that goes into it for a lot of people. And on the flip side, I also know that it is a genetic thing. You can be genetically gifted at running and not work as hard. Why? How do I know that? Because I watched it for years. I ran with these people who did a fourth the work and ran 25% faster than me, who did killed herself,
Yep.
And that's okay. People are genetically disposed to things. People like basketball. Guess what? They didn't work to be tall, people. They were born tall. Hello, Michael Phelps, giant, massive wingspan. Yeah. He did not do anything to get that besides be fucking born. It's the same with thin privilege.
Yes.
People are born thin. It's a body type. And when you can finally accept that you can be a little bit genetically better off to do something and still need to work really, really hard, which people do. You can respect all the things, I think anyone who rolls up to Boston and says everybody here is it's so much easier for them because they're just faster. That's not true. It definitely is true for some people, but for most, it's actually the chase and I want to see what I can get out of this. That is the universal gift of running. It's what unites all of us. It's a way to see what we can do. It's a challenge. It's when you get older, you don't show up for yourself in that way anymore. You do it in work, which can be rewarding, but it's not really on your terms. This is fully on your terms.
Yep.
You get to set a hairy, scary, audacious, moonshotty goal and say, I don't think I can do this fucking thing. And then you're going to kill yourself trying to do it and learn a lot along the way. And it's going to be super fun. That's what running is about. It's never about the time.
Yeah.
So a part of me, though I deeply, deeply respect BQs, I do. I really, really do. I don't necessarily think it should be a world marathon major, but guess what? They make the rules and it's not they've decided a 6-star is something we should all care about. That doesn't do anything for us in our lives. We've bought into the marketing. I want a fucking 6-star. You better believe I want a 6-star medal. Are you kidding me? I'm 2 away. You don't think I want to go to Tokyo just to get one more closer so I can get my fucking medal? It's all bullshit. The whole thing is we ascribe meaning to it. So why Boston? I really love seeing what I'm capable of. It's less of proving to myself I'm not a quitter, which is what it was in the beginning. It was letting go of that core belief. And now it's just a really fun, what can I do? Let's let it rip, bitch. 2025, I want to run from my problems again. The world is on fucking fire. I don't want to feel a goddamn thing outside of therapy.
Yes. And you know what? You chasing this journey and many others chasing this journey, regardless of whether it's Boston, BQ or not. Those runners who having, you know this, Kelly, having been, at the top of the food chain now, I would still say I'm somewhat near the top even, but then that's that genetic piece of where I can stay there. However, the people that just kind of coast their way to the finish line and don't, like you said, do a quarter of the work, they're the ones losing out. And I've done this in the past of not doing all the things, not doing those hard days, you lose out too. It may look like it's all win, oh, I get to run these races, but there's also some pieces about themselves they didn't learn. There's some boundaries.
Resting on your laurels.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think running really spoke to me because that was a lot of my life. I'm a perfectionist, which means I wouldn't try. So I would just go to the things that I was exceptionally gifted at, and I would do the bare minimum and still be on top. And I was too scared to apply myself because I was so afraid of what it would mean to fail at the thing I'm good at or fuck up at the thing I'm good at. And I like running was kind of like the first 1 + 1 = 2 kind of black and white framework that helped me do the work in therapy in a tangible way that I was like, oh, wow, this is really transformational in a way that like really feels good. And I fully swung far in the other direction. I weaponized therapy. I like fucking blew smoke up my ass so hard. Like I was the 26-year-old blowhard Mel Robbins. I know everything. Well, I shouldn't say that about Mel Robbins. I truly only consume Mel Robbins on TikTok in the 5 clips I've seen of her. I know nothing about that woman. But sometimes with a lot of these personalities, they do come off as I have all the answers. And I'm going to also talk to people who know all the answers and we know all the answers, which they would never say about themselves. It's again, like us. We seek out people who are confident and who can help us make meaning of the world because we are just living in the space of entropy. And like, especially right now, like this is horrible. This is horrible. The people that are supposed to fight for us are like spinning, like the war, like America's crumbling as we know it, you know, like, and that, I know that sounds dramatic, but like, this is bad, really bad. And we are looking for people. And that was me. I was so overconfident and like, I'm not that anymore. And I'm okay. I'm okay with this version of me and always trying to get better. But like, it's just different now, you know?
I do. How do you then keep going with this when you've said about your health insurance, you know, about taking care of yourself? Is that the only driving factor when it sometimes surely feels like, what's the point? You know, everything's falling apart.
Oh God, that's such a good question because it definitely is a piece of it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's not. It's messy, I think. It's definitely a big piece of it. But I think mostly it's just like, if the world ends tomorrow, how do I feel about today?
Yeah.
I feel like I live in that space a lot right now.
Yeah. Like, did you do what you could?
Yeah. Kind of.
It's a tough place to be. And you know, having both of us been here to watch this evolution of in the public eye, living in the public eye, as this kind of, we've worked towards this place of where we are right now, where there's so much like seriousness going on right now of you said, of the systems and what's happening, the crumbling. But then there's also the women fighting over the tote bags last week and the content that is like being pumped out. Wait, you did.
What happened with tote bags? I missed this.
Well, it was, you know, again, a lot of what I see on social media is environmental stuff, but there was some, I don't even know what bags they were, but some tote bags in pastel colors that women were like the Stanley Cup thing again. They were like pushing each other out the way to get these limited edition tote bags. I have no idea who they were.
Iconic.
Everyone
Incredible.
has enough reusable bags that they don't need any more tote bags.
I tried to give one away on Sunday at the thing. It's hilarious. I can't.
Everyone has them. But yes, so we've got like the systems and the seriousness, but then you've almost got like the ultra fluffy stuff of, you know, here's me on my run today and here's me on my run tomorrow. How do you handle that in your brain? I mean, well, not necessarily even run.
No,
here's me.
I get it.
In this Target buying some of the stuff in the $1 section.
It feels dystopian. My feed feels dystopian. It's like, get ready with me for my run. And then the next one is Donald Trump did this. The Supreme Court says, send that poor American back, you know, that you wrongly sent away, you fucking asshole. Like, and then the next one is a pool cleaning video that I find wildly satisfying. And then the next one is, Honduras will not send the nice American back who's like in a prison who was wrongly sent. Like, it's like, it feels like nutty. Like the feeds feel nutty. So how do I keep going? I have a choice. You can either keep putting out something that might make someone smile, that might make someone not overtrain, that might make someone take a step towards therapy, that might inspire them to understand that their health and wellness has nothing to do with their waist size or the number on a scale, that might help them understand that health is not a look, it's a lifestyle. And that means taking care of your mental health as well. That means it's okay to laugh, but also you need to fucking vote in your local elections. You need to keep having conversations with people who vote differently than you, not educate them, just like pound them over the head, but also just keep having conversations about them so that we can understand each other. Yes. But also understand that sometimes some people truly don't see the world the same way as you, don't want to see the same way as you. And like, you have to protect yourself and have conversations in a way that both like you can walk away from without being like, you need to find a bridge, or like, oh my God, how do I exist in this space? Like I feel like sometimes everything feels like this person is so like their beliefs make me like truly unwell. I don't know how I can have a relationship with this person, but this person is also family. Do I want to cut this person out of my life? Because you get to make that choice. And it's also okay if the answer is no, I want this person in my life. And maybe we need to have a surface level, I'll never have more than a surface level relationship with this person. And I either need to be okay with that, or I need to understand that I have a life of pounding on a wall that's never going to break through. Like it's just so everything is so much harder than sometimes we make it seem. And I know coming from being in a place as a 20-year-old who had all the answers and was an online personality, sometimes the loudest people don't have all the answers. And I now know to be very wary of anyone who says they have all the answers. Like if anything isn't posed as a question. Now, granted, if someone's like, well, in the Constitution, this is how it's whatever, and this is one interpretation, here's another interpretation. Like that's a different, we know the answers than, like other kind of a thing. Yes. This is a gray area, but I just think everything's a lot harder than we think. And time is the best. Time and patience, and sometimes taking a 5 and going for a walk and a breath or a run and just mulling and then turning to your therapist and talking it through with them is often the way, So like for me, when I'm like, why do this anymore? I don't know if I can just fucking blow smoke up people's asses. It's like, you're not. Do you think your work is important? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I actually do. I think sometimes it's silly and goofy, and I do think that's important. Yes. You have to laugh. If we lose joy, we've lost the battle.
For sure. 100%. And it does feel sometimes like the joy is the thing being sucked out of the room first, when we've got to find ways, and our own individual ways. What one person finds funny and interesting and joyful is not going to be the same, and learning what those things are for you. Like, I mean, I think I'm a good example with me hugging a tree is something that feels particularly good for me. Yeah. But most people, that is going to be like, this is so dumb and I'm never going to do that.
Well, I think this is such a good transition, Tina. And I can start with this, like the last time we got to hang out was at the Run Show, and I got to watch your panel because I was hosting that stage. And like the tiny difference, just the simple reminder of like the work that you're doing on sustainability, but also plogging, doesn't mean you need to pick up every single piece of trash that you see. And sometimes it can be convenient. If you see something on the ground and then you also see that 5 spaces ahead, there's a trash can, pick it up.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. I do that now. And like, I can honestly say I wasn't doing that before. It was my run. This is my time. And it's like, sometimes I still don't pick up the trash, but I would say 80% of the time I pick up the trash. I'm seeing it.
Yeah. I feel
and that makes a difference.
And actually, yesterday I was on the trails and I ran over 2 gel packets on the floor. Both times I ran over them because I was like, oh, I don't want to bend down and pick those up. And then both times I got like 10 meters past them and I was like, nah, I'm going to go back and get them.
Right thing to do.
And so even me, like I sometimes go to run over things and sometimes I will continue on. I did continue on past a Ziploc bag that was just a little far too out of reach yesterday on the trails, but I got the 2 gel packets and that was something. So yeah.
It's that all or nothing mentality. Like we don't need to fix everything. You just need to do what you can.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what's next for you? Speaking of sustainability?
I think I want to keep this episode as its own thing, and I will share with listeners next week as to what is going on. Because I feel like this conversation needs to be shared, and I enjoyed sharing this and we're having this conversation, but I do also want to like take the time and process through what is next for me. So I guess the one thing I will say before we wrap this up is for my listeners, next week is going to be the last Running for Real episode for a while. Kelly, therefore, you are my last guest for a while, going
as
on pause.
As it should be.
And you reminded me earlier when I was like, should I say this is the end? And you were like, no.
No. Never.
So this is a pause. So tune in next week and I will be sharing why that is and what is going on. Kelly, is there anything you want to finish this episode with?
Well, I'm so curious. I've talked most of the time. What has been your takeaways with like what it's been like to be a creator in the space for as long as you have? Like I know my experience and it's very individual to mine. My business is very different than yours, even though we're doing similar veins of the same thing. Like how have you stayed in it? What are the things that you do to protect yourself? All of that stuff.
I think I would go back to what I said earlier about trusting myself. I think so often it is tempting to do what everyone else is doing. Like a good example that randomly is coming to mind is like the speed project. It felt for me like for a while, everyone was doing the speed project. Like that was the thing to do. And you had to do this kind of like, very quirky kind of underground video of doing the speed project. And for me, that wasn't something that particularly like drew my interest. Maybe it will be someday, but not.
Did you ever do it?
No.
Me neither.
So, but in that moment, it's tempting to be like, oh, everyone's doing this. And Boston Marathon, as we're going into this weekend, is a good example too of like feeling everyone's there or should be there, like going down, for me, hosting 2 plugging events this weekend. Plugging is something that, like you said, it doesn't make a huge difference. It's not something that is massively life-changing, but it's something important to me. And I feel like it plants these seeds in people. But I had to override the urge to be like, oh, I should do some kind of shakeout or run, or I should do a panel because that's what everyone else is doing. And that's what, you have to be able to trust yourself. And that's one thing that I have learned is what I like doing and what I want to do is not necessarily what everyone else is doing or what is popular. Particularly, I'm not willing to bend my morals and my values to fit in with everyone else. And I've got to that point over time. By trusting in my own journey that the things that I'm sharing are important to me, and it doesn't matter if they're not currently important to everyone else.
Yeah. I saw on Threads, I don't know the creator who did it. I don't remember. Someone was talking about Boston this weekend and they were talking about the amount of brand things that they were doing and am I doing enough and this, that, and the other. And it was like, I have one. Most people have none and want some. I have one and I would love more. And it was like, the grass will always be greener.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's never enough. And then you're like, am I doing too much? Are people sick of me? That was like the gist of it. And I was like, of course people are going to be sick of you. Most people hate you, and for no reason at all. You have to have such thick skin to be doing this, which is unfair. I actually think it should be the other way. If you don't have anything constructive to say, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
or funny. If you don't have anything funny or constructive to say, shut the fuck up. Like that's my motto. Because I'm all for spoofing. I'm all for like having takes and stuff like that. But if they're not smart, like you shouldn't be saying anything. I know that's wildly gross to say out loud, but like I do think we live in a world where we like scream in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
I remember after I went viral 2014, 2015, my cousin gave me this book, Super Sad True Love Story. It's like a dystopian book about what happens, which is so fucked up because we're literally here where everyone lives in live streams. They live with a camera in front of their face. And like it kind of predicted Occupy Wall Street. Everything's a merger. So it's like Amazon, Pepsi, Charles Schwab, Nordstrom, whatever. Like all the companies are one.
Like
massive.
Wall-E,
Yeah,
Disney.
kind of.
Yeah. So,
and then it's like about finding love in that environment. And you walk by these like credit card pulls that they announce your credit score and like no one has any money. Like everyone's just like dirt poor. Like it was such a fascinating book. And I mean, like it really did put this voice in the back of my head as I was moving into a space. Like selfies were not a thing when I went viral. Everybody railed on me for the longest time for taking selfies.
Did you take it so you could see what you were taking, or were you doing the like what like influencers do now of like it being the back of the camera?
Never the back of the camera. That was not a thing until recently.
You could see yourself and that person in the
Yeah, it was the hot guy. It was the hottie hunting. Like it was the selfies on the run because, well, for me, like there was something about when I started running in 2013. 2012, I started running. There was something before I went viral, I would take a selfie at the end of every run because I thought it was so whack that I was running. Like I couldn't believe it. And I really did want people to see because people would comment like, oh my God, I can't believe you're running. This is so crazy. I can't believe you're running a marathon. And that gave me this like, back then I really did, my worth was in what people thought of me and like, what is she doing and what is she up to? And like, I can't believe she's not doing anything. So I like needed that in a way that was deeply unhealthy. And posting those selfies and getting that feedback kept me accountable. I absolutely think I could have done it without it, but that helped. And so when I went viral for the selfies and like all of a sudden all these people online were saying the worst things, it was like narcissist. And like, it was just interesting, like to come as far as we have.
Yeah.
Where they're so normalized. Like, remember how Kim Kardashian got so much hate for the selfies too? Yeah. It was like that same era and that same vein. And it's wild the things that people are comfortable saying out loud online.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I've definitely had some comments over the years that have been so personal and so hurtful. Brutal is the right word. So,
and I think a lot of people would say them to your face. And then they'd say, well, I would say it to your face. And you're like, that's still not okay, dude. Mm-hmm. The world needs you to get into therapy and learn how to be nicer to yourself and to other people.
The Taylor Swift song, You Need to Calm Down, is one of my favorites.
Yeah, totally. I prefer on Reputation, They're Burning the Witches, even if you aren't one. What's that song?
I don't know. I'm not that much of a Swiftie. I just like...
When Reputation came out, I was trying to be canceled, and I'm like, I really, I feel seen.
No, I'm not that much of a Swiftie, but I love that you are. You continue following that. Kelly, I would love to continue talking. We are about at time. Thank you so much for joining me today, all these years later, for my final interview. I appreciate you, and look forward to seeing what the next decade brings to us and where we will be when we find another way to check it.
We might not be here anymore. The whole world might be gone.
I mean, that's not...
I just pray that we all go together, Wouldn't that be nice?
Like, don't look up.
Best case scenario. Yeah, exactly. I mean, truly the dream. Just let it all end together. What a hopeful, lovely way to end a podcast.
Before we go any further, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Running for Real team. Without them, I would not be able to do barely anything compared to what I'm able to do today. They are behind the scenes. They are there for me. I am just so appreciative of them. To Jeremy Nessel, our podcast editor, audio consultant, and someone who's been with me since the start. To Sally Pontarelli, our content and operations manager, who is there day to day doing all the things to help me be successful. To Kelsey Wang, our head of design, and Louise Murphy, our associate designer. And finally, to Sandy Gutierrez, our photographer and content strategist. I am appreciative of all of you and wouldn't be able to do what I do without you. I just love it. I love how vulnerable, honest, and just truthful she is. We need to hear that message. You needed to hear that. I needed to hear that, have that conversation. I hope you enjoyed that one. Be sure to go check out the links in the show notes to go find more about Kelly by going to runningforreal.com/episode 438. And again, to remind you to check out next week's episode, which will be the last one before we go on a hiatus. We'll also be sharing why we're going on a hiatus and what is taking its place in my time. So go subscribe to the podcast. That way you can make sure that episode comes right to you. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.